Every single animal on this planet eats its food exactly the way nature made it. Lions eat raw meat. Birds eat raw seeds. Chimps, our closest living relative, eat raw fruit, raw leaves, raw everything. Out of every species that has ever existed on Earth, only one of them stops first and lights a fire. You take food that is perfectly edible and you change it on purpose before you'll even touch it. You wouldn't dream of eating raw chicken, raw rice, raw potatoes. Something in you refuses. That should sound completely normal. It's not, because scientists now believe this one strange habit, cooking, might be the actual reason you're capable of watching this video at all. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a stove the same way again. Picture an early human, alone in the dark, crouched beside a small fire, in one hand, a piece of meat, in the other, a stick, holding it just above the flame. Every animal around them is doing the sensible thing, eating immediately, eating raw, wasting no time, because in the wild, hesitation gets you killed. This one creature is doing something that makes no evolutionary sense. They are waiting, on purpose, delaying a meal, next to open danger, in the middle of the night, for a result they can't even see yet. Why would evolution ever allow that? For a long time, scientists assumed cooking was just a convenience, something humans picked up because burnt food tastes good and raw meat is tough to chew. But when researchers actually studied the effects of cooked food versus raw food on the body, they found something much bigger. Cooking doesn't just change the taste of food, it changes how much energy your body gets from it. The same piece of meat, the same handful of grain, gives you far more usable energy cooked than raw, because heat does part of the digesting for you before it ever reaches your stomach. In other words, cooking is a kind of digestion that happens outside the body, and that single discovery quietly rewired what scientists think it means to be human. But here's the part that should really stop you. That extra energy didn't just go toward muscles, or fat, or fur. It went somewhere far more expensive to run. Your brain is the most expensive organ in your entire body. Even sitting still, doing nothing, it burns through a huge share of your daily energy just to stay switched on. No raw food animal on Earth can afford a brain like yours. The math doesn't work. Raw fruit, raw meat, raw plants, none of it releases enough usable energy fast enough to fund something that expensive, but cooked food does. Once early humans started cooking, they were suddenly pulling in far more fuel from the same amount of food, in less chewing time, with less digestive effort. That surplus of energy had to go somewhere. Researchers believe it went straight into growing a bigger, more powerful brain, the very thing that let humans plan, cooperate, invent language, and eventually build everything you see around you right now. Cooking didn't just change dinner, it may have paid the electricity bill for the human mind. Think about how much of a single day still quietly revolves around this. Cooking shows, restaurants, recipes passed between generations, the comfort of a hot meal after a bad day. None of that is random. You're not just a species that likes cooked food, you may be a species that couldn't exist without it. But if cooking built the human brain, it also quietly rewired something else about how humans live. Something you do every single day without ever noticing it. Here's the part almost nobody thinks about. A raw food animal can eat the moment it's hungry, wherever it happens to be standing. Grab, chew, done. But cooking takes time. It takes fire. It takes somewhere safe to sit still for a while. So cooking didn't just feed early humans, it forced them to gather around a fire, waiting for food to cook. Humans were stuck together, with nothing to do but talk, tell each other about the day's hunt, warn each other about danger, pass down what worked and what didn't. That small, boring stretch of time, waiting for meat to cook, may be one of the oldest classrooms in human history. Every family dinner, every meal you've ever shared with someone, instead of eating alone at your desk, every let's talk over dinner conversation that somehow feels different from talking anywhere else. That's not a coincidence. That's a habit older than agriculture, older than cities, maybe even older than language itself. And it's still shaping you today, just wearing a modern disguise. Every time you cook, instead of eating something raw and efficient, you're repeating an ancient decision your ancestors made hundreds of thousands of years ago, to trade a few extra minutes now for something bigger later. Every dinner table conversation, every how was your day, every meal shared instead of eaten alone, is a small echo of a fire that was never really about the food. It was about what happened around it. So the next time you turn on a stove, or wait for something to finish in the oven, remember what you're actually doing. You're not just avoiding a stomachache. You're repeating the exact decision that may have built the human brain, created the family dinner, and gave your species the extra energy to become this. All of this. No other animal on Earth ever made that trade. They just eat, you cook, and somewhere between the fire and the meal, a species learned to think.